Um, Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first official meeting of the Human Relations Commission of Lower Makefield Township. It is April 30th at 6:30, and we are in the Township Building on Edgewood Road. We're going to start with an introduction of the team members for anyone who decides to listen later, so everyone is aware of who's on the committee. So Byron, you want to start?
Yes, my name is Byron Refinement.
Hi, Paul Bambarak.
Hello, Stanley Chaikin.
I'm Tara Friedman. I'm the chair of the committee.
You did already. Kathy Hanville.
Melody Yao.
And Township Liaison Kelly Frank.
All right, thanks everyone. This is our entire committee, so I will mark everyone as present. The first order of business this evening is that I would like to appoint a vice chair in the event that I am unable to attend one of the meetings. And so I would like to nominate Kathy for that position. Kathy, would you accept? And then we'll see if there's a vote.
You probably have to see if anybody else is interested.
Oh.
Yeah, I would accept.
Okay, is anyone else interested?
Second in nomination.
I've known Kathy 30 years.
Okay, I need someone to make a motion.
Good.
I move that Kathy Hanville be appointed the Vice Chairman of the Human Relations Commission.
Thank you, Paul. And a second.
Second.
And Stan seconded. Okay, welcome to Vice Chair.
Oh, we got to vote.
Oh.
All in favor.
Sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I know any opposed. Okay, welcome to the Vice Chair, Kathy.
Thank you.
It's only fair. Okay. All right, so the next order of business is we need to develop a mission statement. So in preparation, I did a little homework, reviewed the website for the Doylestown Commission and some others, and made a recommendation. This is open to editing, suggestions, discussion. So please take a moment to review it. And we can work on it together during the meeting here. Oh, you should, do you not have one? Oh, you only got the one? He's got it. He's got it. Okay. Now you're supposed to imagine it, Byron. Okay. You one more minute. You have to put your, are you on?
No, it's on, yeah.
Okay.
I find myself a little unprepared because I don't have our ordinance but in front of me, but so I guess the question is, in the mission statement, have we tracked the classifications in the ordinance?
Let's pull it up.
In other words, are they all there?
I feel like I did, but let's be double sure. That's a good call.
I assume that was your intention.
It is it is. It's just that I did it a while ago, so I don't remember. I want to assume, but you know what happens. So.
On the LMT website under HRC.
While Kathy is looking, are there other?
After our last meeting, I but it's been a while ago. I looked at some of the other areas, and I thought this is where I thought we were going to do, but this is not what I thought the legislation said, and that the conversation last week. I thought our focus was not exclusively, but more on employment opportunities, that area.
So I think, and anyone feel free to comment here, but I think what we heard was that by and large, the issues brought forward are in the employment sector. But we're not restricted.
Housing, is
to
that the other one?
Yeah. I think that she said employment first by a lot and then housing. Do you see the groups there, Kathy?
Yes, which?
So we just wanted to make sure that we have represented all the race, color, religion, sex, gender, identity, sexual orientation.
Genetic information. And I think the gender identity,
Genetic information is how it's worded.
yes, it is. It says, okay, why don't I read the whole thing?
Okay.
Race, color, sex, religion, ancestry, genetic information, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression. I don't know if you had expression. Familial status.
Yeah.
Marital status, age, veteran status.
Hold on.
Yeah, I know.
I missed age. How did I miss age?
Happens.
Marital status, age, veteran status.
Correct. Mental or physical disability. And use of guide or support animals and or mechanical aids.
But I think I know that this mission statement tracked an ordinance that hadn't been amended recently. Our ordinance is newer and has
So
been
it's
amended.
got some more things.
So I think in fairness, our mission statement should track our ordinance.
Yes, absolutely. It's a very good note. So we need to amend it to include all those that are named in the ordinance. Kelly, for the minutes you're taking there. We have most of them, but you did name a few, Kathy, so we'll have to put those in.
The mission statement in Doylestown is just 6 lines long. And sometimes when they're this long, maybe there's some value in making it a little briefer so people would see what it means. But
well, I do think that the inclusion of all of those groups that have been called out in ours will take up at least 2 lines. So I don't know if we're going to get to 6. But if you think that there's verbiage in here that you think is redundant and we can strike it, want to offer a suggestion?
They don't particularly call out all the individual
they don't do that at all.
categories. They just work toward eliminating discrimination and unlawful harassment. In some other work I've done in technical standards, you try to be really careful and you try to cover all the bases, and you invariably miss one.
Yeah.
Somebody comes up and goes, but you didn't say this, and somehow they find that. So they're employing discrimination of all kinds. I don't know, because when you try to make it so granular, you're always going to miss one. I don't know if Stan has an opinion on that because he knows how we.
Well, I mean,
So you want to just turn.
Just an opinion. I think that it is valuable to list the classifications of unlawful discrimination, because what's not those that aren't included are not unlawful. That's sort of the point. The list keeps getting longer. I will tell you, it's much longer than it was in 1991 when I first entered the practice. But I do think there's value to identifying, those protected classifications that are in the ordinance.
Yeah, I concur with Stan.
So Melody, do you have an opinion on that?
I think it's important to include all of them because some may feel excluded if it wasn't in it. So I do agree with what everyone's been inputting.
So it sounds like the group favors keeping it in. So anything else? I mean, if the first 3 sentences are sort of redundant and you want me to try to cut them down, I can absolutely give it a second try.
I think it's fine. I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with the additions we just mentioned, I mean, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to add. I think it's really helpful to have all those details to explain what we're trying to do.
I was looking at it from a different perspective. I've worked with lots of companies on mission statements, and if they're longer than a few lines, they're blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They don't know what they mean. They lose confidence. But I think this is not for that purpose. We're not doing it for the community here. So it has more legal impact, I suppose, which is why you want to keep it close to it. So that's all. I mean, if it were really a mission, if this was the mission statement and you were at Apple and walked in and said this, they look at each other and you kidding me? So, but that's fine. I think there's other purpose. It makes sense to include all this stuff.
Okay. All right. So do we have any other deliberation on it? Paul, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm happy. That was just a comment about previous experience.
Okay. So if we like it in essence and we just want to make sure that all of the individual groups that are mentioned in the ordinance are included, we could actually take a motion to approve the mission statement with that amendment. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure. Come on again. Yeah, sure. I move that the committee adopt the mission statement with the amendment that we have discussed tonight to include those protected classifications that are in the ordinance.
I second.
So that's Stan and Kathy for the record. And can I take a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have a mission statement.
And then I don't think that there's anybody online.
No, there's
I
nobody
just
on.
checked over.
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
I don't see
Okay.
anyone.
No public comment? Empty
Yeah.
chairs?
The second portion here of the how HRC can help, I pulled that. I just sort of said it didn't take that long to make the mission statement. I was just going to keep going. And so I did think, do we want to take a look at this section? Is this a section we think would be important to have on our page on the township site? Because I'm just, looking at the Doylestown site, there were a number of other sections. So if you like this section, we can take a look at that now, or we can say we're not ready to discuss it yet. We want to think about everything that's going to be on there first. References?
Well, is the concept is to place the mission statement and how we can help on a website?
Yeah, and if you look like at the Doylestown and others, they have a variety of different sections. So there's some technical things that are sometimes on there, like how to file a complaint or how to contact us, who we are, the definition of a protected class, like other things that might be on there. So yeah, it probably wouldn't just be the mission statement with nothing else under it.
And then I just wanted to note that we officially moved on to agenda item 4.
Okay, thanks, Kelly.
Yep.
Well, I think we should start populating a website with information, and how we can help verbiage here is certainly should not be controversial, and I wouldn't have any problem with that going to the website. I do think we need to start thinking about what else.
Yes,
we're gonna add to the website.
That is item 6.
But yeah, I think how we can help. I think it's important for us to communicate how we can help. So that would probably be a great place a great item to add to our website first.
Okay. So
I would also say, yeah, I mean, I just pulled up the website and it just basically has our names. And I don't know, Kelly, if the Board of Supervisors know that they need to make some updates to the staff, like Paul is still an alternate, but whatever. But the only other thing on there is the ordinance. So I definitely think having this, and the thing is I would imagine everything's going to evolve over time and the website doesn't have to be static. I mean, we don't want to change a mission statement, obviously, but I think the statement below we could tweak if for some reason we move differently, but I think we want to get it out there, what we're trying to do.
Okay, so with that said, everybody like the verbiage? Do you need another few minutes to read this section and make any comments?
I think it looks great as a start to populate the website. But a question for Katie, is the township going to, how do we work with the township to actually, as we develop things, are they going to, do they have a web developer they work with that we'll be sending text to, or?
Yeah, so I can be your primary point of contact in the office, and then our administrative assistant, Katie McBann, she does most of the online website content, and then usually what we put out onto the website, I share onto our social media pages if it does get to that. So this is something that we could get to a lot of platforms. So you can go through me. You can also use Katie's email as well. She's the one who updates.
So when we give you these 2 pieces of text, will somebody over the next week somehow propagate it so it gets to the website? So
Absolutely.
you'll be our point of contact to make sure it happens.
That's what I'm here for.
Website development's always a back and forth kind of thing. You have to put the text up, see what it looks like.
Exactly.
Picture.
Yeah, we do all that in the office.
Okay, so you have all that in-house.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
All right, so no other comments. We like the how we can help as it is.
So I move that we put the how the HRC can help statement on the website.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
I have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Who was that? Who seconded?
All
Got it. Thank you.
And any opposed? Okay, we have a second section, how the HRC can help. Perfect. All right, moving to agenda item 5. When we met informally previously, we had talked about just gathering some more information and opinions about how we can help and what the needs of the community are. So did any of the members of the committee have anything that they learned that they'd like to share? Yeah.
Sure. I spent time perusing through trial and error more than anything, various township human relations commission websites throughout the state, not just locally. I don't think we should be limited to Bucks County, or with all due respect to our friends in Doylestown, they may not be the gold standard, although they have a nice website, in my opinion. So I found a bunch of websites. They did run, my observation was that you can start to draw some conclusions when you read the websites about how involved the various commissions actually want to be. Some were very minimalist. Some were, I would call lean towards the side of being advocates. I think there's probably, we probably have to make a decision as to, what we want to do and how we want our website to look. But there are lots of resources out there. So, and particularly as a practitioner, there were a number of websites that had pretty good forms that I think would be a guide for us. And I found the same thing with forms. There were some townships that had forms that really made it easy for someone to bring a complaint, and others not, maybe not so much. So I think we have to decide how we want to be, what type of commission, what sorts of messages we want to send. But there were great resources out there, and I think that, I guess the approach I would take might be to pull from a number of sites and maybe circulate to the committee some examples, and then perhaps form a subcommittee of folks to maybe start drafting and putting together what we could put on our site. That was the extent of what I did since our last meeting.
Excellent. Appreciate you doing that. Paul, did you have anything you want to add? Okay, Byron?
After the last meeting, I got online and tried to figure out this township, because I live right at the corner of Newtown, Upper and Lower. So most of my focus is in Newtown. And I get a lot of stuff from them because there are a couple of their supervisors who are very, John Mack in particular, who are very active. And there's a lot of stuff that comes out. I don't get much from Lower Makefield to know what's going on. So I tried to develop a map. Okay, what are the big organizations here? And frankly, there were hundreds of little ones, and I couldn't figure out where the big ones were. So I kind of got that far with the needs assessment. So yeah, I just don't understand the community and who are the key leaders and where are the key levers, and I don't have any sense of history, but if someone does, maybe we could go somewhere.
No.
Melanie?
No.
Well, thank you both, all, Stan particularly, for reporting out on all that. Byron, thank you for your comments. I think, you know, if we want to go to agenda item 6, which is next steps, that really, this discussion really parlays right into that. So as we think about, all right, we're going to have a mission statement, we're going to have how we can help, and then what are the other things that we want to be on the site? I think it would be really helpful to us, for us to develop how to file a complaint sooner rather than later. There are some other things on there like definitions of protected classes. Stan, you mentioned that you'd been on a bunch of sites, so I don't know if there are other things you want to add, but as a priority, do we all sort of agree that the next section to develop is how to file a complaint, or just people have other thoughts?
No, I mean, I think that's sort of, I mean, I want to get into the education and stuff, but as Stan has pointed out, that is fundamentally one of the biggest things in the ordinance. So I think that's probably the first thing we need to tackle.
Tackle numerous things, but that shouldn't wait. That shouldn't wait. And the reason I say that is we have an ordinance that purports to provide a mechanism for us to resolve complaints in the event that someone has one. At the moment, if a township resident were to call and say, I have a complaint, what do I do? What do I file? You know, we can't point them to the Doylestown website. We need our own, and we need our forms. And as I was saying before, we can utilize some discretion in what we want those forms to look like and what we want our process to look like. And I've seen different approaches. So I know what my personal choice would be. I'm not prepared to share that, but I do think the committee needs to come to grips with that and probably look at, you know, more than one example. And I can pull that from several of the different, you know, township sites, all of which, you know, all of whom have gone through this process, come up with some different results, even though their ordinances they're basically identical. The ordinances from township to township.
So in the interest of being productive and kind of like actually getting this thing going, I think we could have 1 or 2 people go and find examples and come prepared with some recommendations, but also allow time for everyone to review examples. And then, you know, maybe somebody else would like to take a stab at writing the definitions of protected classes section, which is really something I think we could leverage from somewhere else. Like, we don't need to rewrite it. So the other things that are on there, you know, how to file a complaint, we have to develop the form first before we can figure out the process. So, and then the other thing was about us. And I'm not sure, you know, we do have the mission statement already. We do have the ordinance on there. So I'm not 100% sure whether we really need that urgently, or if there's really anything else helpful in that section besides what we already have. So I would propose that we take the working on a form or whether that's a digital, a paper, you know, both, and definitions of protected classes as action items for us to do to research before our next meeting in a month. And then at our next meeting, we'll review and approve those and keep going. Kathy, do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, I just wanted to suggest either, you know, like, Stan, I'm assuming you're going to research the first part, that you send out some stuff via email ahead of time, or if people are comfortable, I know for the Historic Commission, we have a Google Drive, and, you know, if people have access, it's a good way to kind of track edits and stuff. But if that's too technical, you know, just passing it out, because that way we can all look at things ahead of time and be better prepared than maybe we were for today.
Yeah.
Right. I think if it's okay, my concept is for me to pull down a few examples, and perhaps I'll send them to Tara, and Tara can circulate them. I guess it shouldn't be a smaller group than all of us in advance.
Right.
We should all see it,
Yeah.
and then come to the next meeting with our thoughts as to, what we want.
Agreed. And then for the list of protected classes, I'm assuming that Pennsylvania has something, like, is there not something in legalese that we could use?
Our ordinance, it lists the classes. So I think there are some websites that are going to have resources that are, we're not going to have to, I don't think we're going to have to reinvent the wheel at all.
Okay.
For this project.
Right.
I saw a lot of, really good websites. Then I saw some really minimalist websites, and which I think were purposely minimalist, and maybe that's what we'll want. I don't think so, but maybe. There are resources on the various township human relations commissions sites. So I'll circulate links and things so people can look, because they're not all about complaint forms. Some of them have more to do with, advocacy and education and such.
Yeah, so that's probably more sits in the About Us section, and we can circulate all of that and come prepared with an opinion about what we want. So why don't you start, Stan, with whatever you find, send it to me. I'll also do some work, and then I'll bring it all together, and Kelly and I will send it around. Our next meeting is a month from now, so we have plenty of time.
I'll do that this week though. So.
Okay. This week it's Thursday. I mean, it's Wednesday. What day is today? It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
My concept of this week is within the next.
Within a week, within several weeks, right? Just check in. You're gonna have it by Friday. Okay. So, any other next steps, things that you all feel like we could be doing between now and next time?
I had the idea to contact some colleagues, because as I've gone on these various websites, I look to see who are the members. So I have found a few, no close friends or colleagues, but folks that I know or know of. So I do think that at some point I would like to contact them and just solicit any ideas or thoughts about, how they might guide us based on their information. So I didn't want to do that without your permission or go ahead, but.
Sure. I mean, I think we're all in the fact finding, getting educated phase, and all input is welcome.
The township has a newsletter that they send out every month, 2 months, maybe a little paragraph in there. Did you know that Lower Makefield has a Human Relations Commission? And if you have any of these ideas, check out the website. That was the biggest thing one of the things we talked about. How does anybody know we're here? Because it's not exactly a hotbed where a lot of things are going on, but the newsletter, I think that'll be good.
So that's a fantastic idea. Can I ask that we sort of parking lot the idea until we have a form that tells people how to log a complaint up, and the state, otherwise, like I worried people would go to the website and there's nothing on it. So I love the idea of just building awareness.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but also maybe the commission could have a general email, HRC@lmt.org. So people could respond to that. So you might be able to solicit, it might not come to the level of a complaint, but just if I'm sure the township has a bunch of web email addresses, one of them which they could donate to that, and somebody or all of us check it every now and then just to see what's there. And this way, until we get a form, because sometimes these things take a while to figure out. At least the police people could reach out and contact, unless you want them calling your personal cell phone.
No, they can't, because we did get one call to the office in the last month, and they called the township, and the township passed the message on to me. And I think that's how it would work.
Yeah. And then, sorry, just going back to the last point about the newsletter, I just brought up the dates. So our content to be put out is the next one is due on June 3rd. And then that comes out on the 1st of August. So it's kind of like a really planning ahead type thing. And then the last one for the year, the content is due in the middle of August, and that'll come out in November. So we can kind of work around when we would want to put things. If the June one is too soon, if we want to wait till November, that can be something to be discussed as well. But I just realized I had those dates.
We could potentially, if, you know, I mean, I hear what you're saying too, is in the first newsletter, announce the mission statement and this, and then in the second, you know, I'm not thinking we're going to be ready with a form by, you know, the June deadline, then we could kind of pass that on just so we're starting to get the information out there. But I'm also fine with holding it if that.
I mean, we might be ready. I mean, I think none of us are too motivated to try to create a form from scratch. So if there's some good examples, you know, we might be able to. So why don't we table the decision on when we go for that? It sounds like we'll have a few days.
Mhm.
We'll just see what we got accomplished at the next meeting. If we're ready to go, we'll make a decision about whether we're ready now or need to wait.
I think one of the other things, if I'm remembering correctly, we talked about at the last meeting, if we wanted to do any sort of community survey. But I know, Paul, you also brought up because most of that stuff is online, and that does weed out a certain number of people. Although I guess we could post something over at the senior center too. Oh, okay, sorry. I have the senior meetings there. That's what I've taken my mom to. Okay.
Years ago when they called it the senior center, when they initially attempted to build it, it was a great big uproar.
Okay. Yeah,
so it was renamed the community.
It had all settled down until about 2 minutes ago.
Now we're gonna get a list of complaints. Well, do we want to talk more about a more formal survey?
I wanted to say a word, just hit me. And I don't mean to be inappropriate politically, but when I read this, DEI just struck out at me in the second one. So I was thinking Stephen Miller, or one of those crazy people, may see these words, and is that helpful? I believe in these concepts, but right now, the next 3 years, these are tough concepts to have.
I actually did have the same thought.
I thought about it too. But all right, so what would we say alternatively? Equality, on issues of equality?
Well,
I mean, honestly, I think I hear the concern. It was raised in my brain, but I think if we use any words, any of those words are potentially inflammatory to certain people's.
But I don't think we're really focusing on diversity or inclusion in our charter. We're focusing on equity. So I would propose just equity.
Well, we could actually hack the first sentence of the HRC can help, even though we've already voted on it. So we'll have to, which is fine. We can reopen it and take new motions. But what we could do is take away and just say the HRC works to eliminate unlawful discrimination and harassment within the township.
As long as we keep the piece about ensuring all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. So that's I feel strongly about that, but you know, I'm fine with knocking the other words out if that's the general consensus.
I thought it was the first part of the first sentence with the second sentence. The Human Relations Commission of Lower Makefield Township strives to ensure that all residents, blah, blah, blah.
Wait, are you in the mission statement or are you in the how?
But it's the same language.
It is the same.
I
was doing the mission statement.
Ah, you're up at the top. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So then that just gets rid of the words, but goes right into what we do. Don't get me wrong, I think the words are great, but this is a bad time to use those words, I think. Unless on purpose we want to do it.
Well, it's, you know, we're not looking to politicize this. This is, I think we could say so going back to the mission statement, the Human Relations Commission of Lower Makefield Township is dedicated to ensuring that all residents have equal access to opportunities and resources and are committed to the elimination of unlawful discrimination and harassment within the town.
I think that works. And then I think we need to adapt the second part too.
And so in the how HRC can help, I scratched it to now read, the HRC works to eliminate unlawful discrimination and harassment within the township, ensuring that all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. So basically I just cut out the words from serves to it. And I just wrote the HRC works to eliminate unlawful discrimination.
Yeah. I like vital resource though.
Where?
I kind of like vital resource.
The HRC is serves as a vital resource to eliminate. Okay, yeah. That can work too.
There you go.
Is that?
That works. So the HRC serves as a vital resource to eliminate unlawful discrimination. Okay, good. And Byron should be very happy because we just chopped 2 lines. So.
He got what he wanted.
One of those boxes, you know, if you go over 50 words.
Right. Can't read the end. Okay, so are there any other, I mean, that was a great discussion. Is there anything else that we want to change about it before we entertain motions again?
I think does it have to be 2 separate motions? Do you know?
I think you'd probably have to
President
make
Hush.
the
Yeah.
motion to change it and then make the motion to accept it.
Okay. So
Maybe.
I move that we revise the mission statement and how HRC can help to what we just stated, replacing what we voted on 10 minutes ago.
okay, do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
You're not? Didn't say anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed. I'm an aye.
You're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that he was not saying it. Okay, so we have now a revised of our accepted on the same meeting. Very efficient. Okay, perfect.
Better than doing it in 3 days.
You know what? It's great. It's thoughtful. I appreciate it very much. That's correct. Correct. It's perfect. Okay, so now we're back to next steps. We have talked about doing some additional homework on how to file a complaint, definitions of protected classes, and Stan and I will compile a bunch of stuff and we'll circulate it before the next meeting. The other next steps I thought about are we don't need a secretary yet until Kelly is not willing to take notes for us anymore. So I don't think we're there, but she'll let us know when she's had enough of us. And then we do need to go back to the board to identify additional members for the committee because this is our entire committee and we've dropped some members who haven't been available. So do I need a motion for that?
I don't think that that's a motion. I think either you or Kelly just need, I know the township manager encourages uses of liaisons whenever possible. So I would say either you or Kelly reach out to John and just let him know, and then he can get the board to deal with it.
Yeah, and then that'll be something that they put on their agenda for the next meeting, I suppose. The interviewing of new members. Usually it happened at the beginning, before the meeting's officially adjourned. I believe you.
And it would technically be 2 additional members that we would like.
Okay.
Yeah, and we should promote Paul.
Can we promote Paul to an active member?
The addition of 2 alternates.
Your pay is double.
And the promotion of Paul to not just an alternate. 2 not alternates.
And then we would need 2 alternates.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, that could take some time because they'll have to advertise and all of that. So.
And then we talked about, considering publishing, which we'll decide time. Is there any other next steps we'd like to discuss? not, agenda item 7 is reviewing our upcoming meeting schedule. So we have been slated for the 4th day of the week. It is Wednesday of the month at 6:30. So the next meeting's on the 29th of May.
Yeah, I do believe that one is a Thursday, just because that was the next one that was available.
Oh,
but moving forward,
it's
I think the 4th Wednesday of the month.
sure.
Is that the, it's a Thursday. The 29th is a Thursday, yeah.
The 29th is a Thursday.
Yeah,
Then
yes.
we're going to the 4th.
The 4th Wednesday.
So June 25th would be our next,
If that's a Wednesday, yes.
and it is.
The 29th is
Maybe that could be added to the website too, that starting in June, we're going to
Yes.
meet at the 4th Wednesday.
yeah, and summer may get tricky if we don't have any alternates. So we'll have to just think about, you know, what kind of forum we need to have notes. Because I'm sure people have vacation coming and stuff like that.
Now, can it be a 4-person? Do you know, is it different by ordinance?
1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 of us that are supposed to be official on this. So I think a quorum is 3.
So it's not 5, it's just a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have a meeting. So if you don't have 3, which is why you want to have alternates. I know with historic, they historically take off August because traveling, but sometimes we don't just because we had too much to do.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was different by committee, like if we're able to rock with 4 or 3.
So
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could check that.
Yeah.
I understand this majority.
Yeah. As long as there's a majority vote able. I think that's fine. I think 3,
double
yeah.
check it too.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, this is, you know, just for the agenda, you should have public comment at the end.
Yes.
So agenda item 8 is new business, is public comment. Is there a public comment at the gallery?
Nobody else?
Nobody there. Someone there. It still says 1. Okay, in that case, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
We don't need to vote on that. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.